So verse 14, and it reads, "These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings. And they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful." So here we see NATO and the EU will make war with the Lamb, as it is reiterated in Revelations 19 and 20. And as we went over earlier, when this happens, the entire beast system controlled by the Edomites will be destroyed. So verse 15, and it reads, "And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues." So here we are told the waters that Mystery Babylon will sit on represents people. And this came to fruition due to the US using its military presence to establish authority all over the world.
The US is easily the most powerful country to have ever existed, and it certainly spends more on its military budget than any other country does today. That's all pretty well known. But less well known is the fact that the US has around 800 military bases around the globe. This map can't even show that many dots. These are just 200 or so dots to give you an idea of where these bases are clustered. These bases are everything from massive military compounds to small airstrips in the middle of the ocean. If you combined all the foreign bases that every other nation has outside of its own borders, you get a total of about 30. There's never been a country with such a massive global presence.
Through this military presence, the US has become the first nation to have an influence all over the earth, whether it be positive or negative. Now verse 16, and it reads, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest on the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire." The 10 horns turning against the whore is a representation of Spain, Portugal, France, Britain, Austria, Italy, Luxembourg, Switzerland, Belgium, and the Netherlands turning against the US. And one look into France-US relations will prove this prophecy is slowly being fulfilled.
Will France become the first European country to join BRICS? Well, as it turns out, it may be a possibility. France just openly expressed interest to join the alliance and asked for an official invitation to its next meeting.
In the end, these 10 nations will betray NATO, join the BRICS alliance, and help destroy the US with nuclear missiles. And this is why the verse above says they shall hate the whore and burn her with fire. So verse 17, and it reads, "For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled." So for those who claim the Father doesn't cause destruction, here we see that the Father, Yahweh, orchestrated the rise and fall of this beast system in order to destroy it, which will bring his words to fruition. This is why the Western European world allowed itself to be subject to the will of the US. And now that NATO and the EU are turning against the US, we know that the words of the Father, Yahweh, which were spoken against Babylon, will soon be fulfilled. Now verse 18, and it reads, "And the woman which thou sawest is the great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth." Now at this point, we should know this is another reiteration of Mystery Babylon's influence. With this being said, this prophecy began by making Mystery Babylon a subject matter. And in the process, we learned Mystery Babylon will lead the new beast system while being the most influential nation on earth, which helped expose the US for being Mystery Babylon. We later found out the new beast system will be controlled by descendants of Rome, which furthered Babylon's connections to the US due to their elites being descendants of Rome while leading this beast system. And we ended with the betrayal of the NATO alliance, which will lead to the destruction of the US. So in the end, Mystery Babylon has to be the US. This is the only nation that fits the prophecies concerning Mystery Babylon, and even if we don't acknowledge its position in Revelation 13 and Revelation 17, we can't deny the spiritual connection between the US and ancient Babylon, which further exposes the US for what it is. As we have exposed in many videos, the US has forwarded many Babylonian traditions. For example, Easter celebrates the Babylonian deity Ishtar, and Christmas is a pagan festival that pays homage to the Babylonian king Nimrod and the mother he was forced to marry. And both of these were forwarded the most by the US, which has successfully established trends throughout the earth since its inception. But of course, there will be those who claim this breakdown was biased, so before we end this video, let's hear someone else's interpretation.
Well, Babylon always promises the same thing, whatever iteration she takes. Of course, if you're in 96 AD, that's Rome. If you're in, and here goes back to wonky or janky interpretations of Revelation. If you've got a bad lens by which you approach the book, then the United States is city on a hill that's about, but if you're reading it honestly, right, this isn't some reference to Russia or China, like this is about us. Like the US is just as much Babylon. Her culture just as much says, you want all your sensuality satisfied, come to me. Don't worship Jesus, come to me. You want comfort, don't worship, come to me. You want you come to me. You want your best life now, you come to me. That's the lie of Babylon.
So to wrap this up, the U.S. is the one nation we can truly call Mystery Babylon. And even if you refuse to believe it, this land will eventually be destroyed for its role in history, as it is foretold throughout the entirety of the Bible. Lord willing, whoever had ears to hear was further edified. Shalom.